So I'm going to go to work now. Resistance.
You know, we've come a long way in this country with everything that's been going on, the division that's taken place, and everybody has their opinions as far as who you voted for, who you didn't vote for. But when I came across this video, I have to be honest with you, I was shocked. I couldn't believe some of the things that this lady was saying. Even reading through the comments of the video, I was even more blown away by how many people agreed with this line of thinking. Now, most of you that have seen my videos, you know I always try to come at things from a biblical perspective. And it's really sad, but I also understand that we live in a broken, fallen world and that not everybody can see things clearly. So I always like to link back to the content creator, so this lady's link will be in the description section of the video. But let's get into this and see if you're just going to be as blown away about this as I was. Some of you will, some of you won't.
You're realizing I am just now, well, within the last year, realizing that the man I married is always been passive, quiet, all the things that I'm not, and thought that that made our relationship great. You know, opposites attract and whatnot. When you're in your 20s, you don't think a lot about questions you should probably ask your partner before you marry them. So now here I am at 41, realizing that I'm married to someone that only cares about the things that I bring up or show interest in or passion towards because I'm bringing it up. Otherwise, it wouldn't be something that interests him. So if you're like me, you're probably married to someone that kind of has their head in the sand regarding everything that's going on. They've never had any type of harassment from police. They've always gotten by with their good looks and white skin. I am in complete turmoil to the point where I don't want to live here anymore and don't want to be compliant with everything that's going on. And
well, you can tell before she even gets going, she's clearly talking about the recent election. But what bothers me about what she said, and I promise I'm going to try not to stop the video so much as I'm going, but it's hard to move on because there's so many thoughts going through my head. She's clearly bought into the propaganda and the lie, and I'm not trying to be harsh. I don't know this lady, so I'm trying to do my best not to be too critical, to try to have humanness in my response. But I would highly doubt that she's been harassed by the police. Maybe she's falling into the belief of all the people that are pushing that, people that are white are privileged. And I don't even want to go down that whole rabbit hole. I thought it was a bunch of malarkey, all the crap that we were seeing during the George Floyd stuff. But I was a police officer for 33 years. And I'm going to be honest with you, all that stuff about black men not being able to leave their home because they're going to get shot in the street by a white police officer, that has been debunked and it has been proven. There have been Harvard studies done. There was a black professor that did a Harvard study because somebody challenged him because he was believing all the garbage. And when you look at the statistics don't lie. But again, that's neither here nor there. I don't want to go down a whole rabbit hole with that whole issue because everybody's entitled to their opinion and everybody's had different experiences. But I will say this before I engage the video again. There are over 800,000 police officers in the United States of America. Less than 1% of that number are corrupt, crooked police officers. What's always amazed me, even as a cop, was you can have one bad cop, and all cops are bad. But you can have a doctor that cuts off the wrong limb. You don't hate all doctors. You can have a lawyer that basically takes you to the cleaners, knowing you can't afford it, charging you $400 an hour to send an email. Nobody hates all lawyers. It's just something about that particular profession. And again, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I want to get back to the video because I believe this is going to go a lot deeper than any of us are expecting.
When I bring things up to him, and I know I'm fearful. I know others are fearful. And he's just like looking at me like, uh-huh, okay. And it's like, why don't you care more? Why don't you be louder? Use your voice. Use your white privilege, for God's sakes. And he won't.
I hate that word.
And he doesn't stick up for people that need it. He's actually barely stuck up for me in our marriage, and that's a whole nother story. But I'm finally realizing that the person I've been married to for the last 10 years may not be the person I thought he was. Yes, he agrees with a lot of the things I do and absolutely hates Trump, but not enough to speak out about it, not enough to be a voice or use his privilege to make things better. And absolutely hates Trump, but not enough to speak out about it, not enough to be a voice or use his privilege to make things better.
Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I can't go any further. Where do I even start? First of all, I know that there are going to be people that are on both sides. That's politics. I get that. What I don't understand is why so many people hate this man. I don't understand it. It's almost like they can't separate themselves from all the crap that they've seen in the media. It's been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that the mainstream media is, like what Donald Trump says, fake news. It's been proven. I mean, look at the majority of people that came out and voted because they were tired of the same old garbage. And what amazes me, and I have to tell on myself a little bit, my wife opened my eyes to a lot of things. You know, right before the whole COVID thing happened, you could say in some areas I was asleep. I'm not asleep anymore. And it's almost like when you are a believer and you believe in Jesus Christ and you try to share the gospel with somebody and they look at you like you got two heads and they say, there's no God. And you just want to shake them and say, how can you not look around you and see that there is something greater than you, even if you don't want to call it God? That's kind of what this reminds me of. How can you not look? And let's just take the last administration, everything that happened. And again, I'm not trying to get political, but just look at the last administration. The border being one issue, the person that was in leadership, the fact that they bypassed the entire democratic process and forced Kamala Harris, or I shouldn't say forced, but put her in that position when nobody voted for her. I mean, that's just barely touching the surface without going deep. And they're still complaining about somebody who, from all I've seen, has come in and is trying to expose fraud, expose waste, and bring attention to all the garbage that's been going on in our government for probably close to the last 100 years. And instead of being happy about it, people are hating the man. And I'm gonna make this last point. I'm gonna get back to the video. Now, I'll be the first person to tell you I am not comparing Donald Trump to Jesus Christ, not at all. But let me show you the comparison that I'm coming with. Here you have somebody that loves this country, that's trying to change the corruption, and we all can see the corruption that's been going on. Billions and trillions of dollars going God knows where of our hard-earned tax dollars, but nobody on that side seems to even care about that. They're more worried about the person in office. Everybody can see it. And it's almost like when Jesus showed up on the scene. You had all the Jewish leaders at that time that were against him, that were trying to throw rocks at him, trying to stone him, spit on him, eventually set him up and crucified him. All because it's almost like when you see somebody coming in trying to change the status quo to make things better, there's all this pushback to get it. And what breaks my heart about this situation here is people allowing it to affect their marriage, something that is supposed to be sacred in God's eyes. It's sad.
I have completely cut off anyone that supports Trump, including family. And I run a dog grooming business in a very small town in Tennessee. And I have lost so many clients and friends over this, over speaking out. And it's so sad because these people, on one hand, will tell you how much they love you, how much their dog loves you. Thank you so much for loving my baby, being so good to my baby. You're the absolute best. We would never take our dog anywhere else. And then they see my posts on Facebook calling out Trump and everybody else around him and that supports him. And then all of a sudden I'm the bad guy and they don't want to bring their dogs to me anymore. So I'm at a point now where I have a very small group of friends here in Tennessee, and I'm realizing that when shit goes down, who am I going to count on except for myself? And
what's going to go down? Oh,
I'm waiting for my passport to get here, and then I think I'm leaving.
See ya.
I can't sit back and be with someone that isn't willing to fight the good fight. And I won't sit here and let these people in my town take away everything I have worked for.
What have you worked for, lady?
Because they think Trump is God.
Oh my God.
And I'm bad for speaking out against him. And
they don't think Trump is bad. What they are is they're tired of seeing the same politicians that overpromise and underdeliver, that are on the take, that are corrupt, and all this other stuff that we all saw the last 4 years, unless you were sleeping under a rock.
Speaking up for the gay community, the trans community, the Hispanic community.
The Hispanics voted for him in record numbers.
So they're getting what they want. They're going to put me out of business. And they're going to run me out of this town.
Wow.
But for the first time in my adult life, I'm finally living authentically. And I don't wake up every morning wanting to kill myself.
That's pretty sad that you allow politics to drive you to the point where you want to divorce your husband, leave the country, and kill yourself. To me, there's some underlying mental illness going on. I honestly believe she needs help, professional help.
I hope this finds the right community of women because I feel like there are more of me out there. So I'm going to go to work now. The resistance.
I'm sorry, you guys. I know everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I welcome all. If you want to comment on the video because you disagree with me, that's fine. And for me, if you've watched any of my videos, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I just look deep at what's really going on, and I make my decisions based on that. And what still blows my mind is how people are so asleep they can't see the forest for the trees. And it's heartbreaking. It's just like that neighbor friend that you know is going to hell because they refuse to believe that there is a creator that created them and everything. And you can't get them to wake up and see, dude, just look at your DNA, look at your brain, look at your eyes, how amazing they are. How can you not think that there's something greater than, that created that? So you can't wake up somebody that's asleep. You really can't. And they get like this lady where they get violent. She's ready to divorce her husband. And that's a whole nother video right there. Where is the sanctity of marriage anymore? When she made a comment very early in the video where she said, he's not who I expected. None of us are the person that we expected that when we got married. Our spouse isn't the person that we thought we were marrying. Most people put on their best game face until they've won the prize, and then the real person comes out. That's when the real work starts, but to throw in the towel and to give up on a marriage because you and your husband don't see eye to eye when it comes to, now it sounds like she's more upset because her husband is passive. She sounds like one of those types that wants to play the white privilege game and bow down and kiss black people's feet and do all that stupid stuff that was going on, for the last 4 years, which I did not agree with at all. Again, I'm tired of all the racism crap. I'm tired of anything that has to do with race. I'm over it. I'm done with it. It's time to move on. We're all created in God's image. If I cut open that lady's wrist or you cut my wrist open and you let the blood pour on the ground, you can't look at the blood and say, well, that's the white lady's blood and that's the black guy's blood. Man is the one that's jacked up. Okay? It's man. And it's heartbreaking to see people allow something like politics to come between their marriage. I pray that there's no children involved, or anything to that degree. But again, there are consequences to our choices. She'll leave her husband, get her passport, and move to Ireland with Rosie O'Donnell, and then something will happen and she'll wake up and then she'll sit back and regret, like, man, why did I do that? Because I'm telling you right now, when you don't have a relationship with Christ, you make a lot of decisions based on what the world thinks is the right thing. And I'm telling you, I read through probably the majority of the comments in the video, and I was blown away by how many women said, you're speaking my truth. You sound just like me. So basically, it sounds like there's a lot of liberal, democratic women that were responding to her video that feel the same way that she does. And it's just sad. It's just sad how many people are asleep, But again, I just came across this video and my jaw dropped, because for me as a black man, I'm trying to move beyond all this race baiting, ignorant crap that's been going on for years. Oh, we need reparations, look what they did to us in slavery. They didn't do nothing to me. That was my ancestors, but again, everybody has their view on that subject. And seriously, that's there's several video topics just in this video alone. And I don't have time to get into all of them like I do today. But I thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already done so, please hit the like button. Also, make sure to comment. Give me your opinion. Tell me how you feel about this. Is this lady right in what she's doing, or is she wrong? I don't care if you're a Trump hater or if you're a Trump supporter. Drop them comments in the comment. Trust me, I got thick skin. I can take it. Bottom line, we're all entitled to our opinion. One thing I do like about Donald Trump is that he's fighting for free speech, because we were basically censored the last 4+ years. Okay, so I'm exhibiting that that olive branch. Feel free to comment and be as free as you want. You're not going to hurt my feelings. But anyway, make sure you like the video if you haven't already. Also subscribe to the channel so you don't miss great content like this. And as always, I love all you guys, and I will check you on the next one. Later.